How do you tell if you're overwatering or underwatering your plants? If you're new to gardening, or maybe even if you're old to gardening, you've probably realized that one of the hardest things to figure out about plants is how much water do they need. If you're anything like me, this is largely because what happens is something weird's happening with your plant, then you go on Google and say, why is my plant doing X, Y, Z? And it says, well, maybe it's overwatered or maybe it's underwatered, which does not help at all. So I'm going to try to take some time today to show you how to tell if your plants are actually over or underwatered. The first thing you need to remember is just touching the top of the soil is not a good way to assess how dry a plant is, because the water on top might evaporate very easily even though it's still very wet underneath. So what you really need to do is, instead of just tapping the top, you need to put your finger in about the first knuckle deep and see if it's wet in there. And if it's wet in there, then you're probably good, and if it's dry, then it's probably time to water. But when it comes to over or under watering, I have found one thing that does seem to be very consistent among many plants. See, if you look at my pepper plant here, you'll notice that the leaves are kind of folding inwards, almost like a taco shell. This is generally a good sign of overwatering, not underwatering. Which makes sense, because this plant is definitely overwatered. We've been getting a ton of rain. I actually need to bring these plants underneath the patio so they'll stop getting rained on so much. But that does bring up a good point. Just because your plants are getting rained on does not mean they're getting overwatered. Really, a lot of rainwater does not always translate to a lot of water in your actual plant, so make sure to just keep checking on it. Just because it rains doesn't mean it doesn't need water. But do you have any good tips about under or over watering? Let me know in the comments.